Good morning, everybody. Having my coffee with whipping cream. Trying to wake up because I didn't get much sleep last night. Because you guys stressed me out. I'm just kidding. I'm wearing the same shirt from yesterday because I pretty much just collapsed into bed. But I wanted to send you guys a message this morning. I didn't want to type it, and gosh, I can hardly talk. I didn't want to type it because it would be like way too long and you'd never read it. So I figured this would be easier. And I'm also going to send this to my online class because they probably could benefit from a little bit of this as well. So last night in our in-person class, we did the 5 rounds of practice rounds. I think you probably found out that it's not always as easy as you think it's going to be. And guess what? Business isn't. Businesses are going out of business every single day. If doing business things were easy, Shopko wouldn't be shutting down. Okay? Companies are closing every single day because of things that happen. And some of it's just bad decisions, bad investments, mistakes that were made. And some of it's just a circumstance of the environment around them and the changing marketplace. Okay, lots of reasons for it. Simulation is going to be there for a couple of reasons. It's going to be there to help you react to the competitive market. If you think of the SWOT analysis, you have the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal to your organization. So those are the decisions that you can control and the things that you can, the decisions you make every single day. Opportunities and threats are what's happening around you. And one of the interesting things that happened last night at about 10:40, as we were wrapping up class, for those diehards that stuck it out and are probably feeling somewhat better this morning than maybe some of you that left earlier. But one of the things that you'll find is that we were working on a simulation. We got through the whole thing, and it happened with 2 of us. So Brian was helping Hugo, and I was helping David, and we were going through our scenarios. And David was like, "Prove it to me that you could do this." And so I got real conservative on his because he kept getting emergency loans, and I couldn't figure out why he was getting emergency loans. So we started over and tried to set it up in a better way. And what I found was, as we were doing that, we were really close. So we got through the 5 rounds. We had our profit, cumulative profit was there. Our sales were there. We had our product. We just couldn't get our cumulative margin above 25%. And that's purely a cost thing. It's a cost in what you're selling your product at. And it wasn't until we were finishing and I was looking at the competition where everybody was at, and I realized that my price that I had on the high tech market that we were, product that we were using was probably $2 to $3 under what the competition was at. And that $2 to $3 a piece could have increased that contribution margin of that product immensely. So, but when you replay around and you do it over and over again, it's not the same round. So when you undo your rounds and you start over, and then you're like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? Your competition is changing. So the decisions that the other computer teams are making are not the same round after round. So it's always going to change. And Brad came to that realization too. He's like, wait a minute, what? I didn't even look at what my competition was doing that last 2 rounds. So that changes, and they do different things, and that changing climate is going to always be there and always be different. There is no right answer to this simulation. There is no one right way to do this, because every time you do it, it's different. Okay, just like in life, every time you start up a business and you run a business, it's going to be different than the first one you did, and you'll make different decisions, and the results are going to be different as it. So if you're changing as you're practicing, if you're changing a lot of variables, you're not going to see what that one variable does necessarily. You're going to be looking at what all the variables that you're changing do, and it might be hard to decide like what is the one thing that's having that impact. So I wanted to tell you that it's always changing. So if you're getting frustrated, I mean, even myself last night doing it, I couldn't get cumulative margin. couldn't improve our contribution margin at all. So we did not bad. 25% is not bad, but that's not what the goal is. So that's the one piece. But we were out of debt. We made huge improvements. And so you kind of have to look at the huge improvements instead of just the points that you're going to be getting. And we're very focused on the points that we're getting. I know we are. Many of you are used to getting A's. This is going to be the hardest class that you'll ever do. And understand that. And in life, not everyone gets A's, right? So we have to balance that, and we have to just work hard and do the best that we can. But the most important thing is what you're learning from this. So I could have, at the beginning of class, said, we're going to break into groups, and you guys are going to do this practice round on, in groups together. But what happens in groups is one person does all the work, one person understands what they're doing, and then when you get to the final exam, you're not successful. So I need you guys to practice and do this. Even if you get 20 out of 40 points, 2 out of 4 of the items that I'm asking for, I see that as a success because you got in there, you played around with it, and you tried to learn what you were doing. Okay, you have some sort of an understanding of how the simulation works. If you're struggling with making things happen, look at the levers that pull. So if you're getting an emergency loan, are you spending too much money? One of the things that I read last night, because I was so frustrated, with depreciation and a couple of things that were happening, and I was looking up some things, and one of the things that I read said, if you're going to make plant improvements, how are you going to raise that revenue? And it was like a duh moment to me. You can't just spend money if you're not going to get revenue in. So that first round, maybe you don't make your product if you don't have revenue for it. That might have been the one thing that kept us out of the emergency loans because we didn't make any money. We needed a round to make a little bit more cash so that we could spend a little bit of money on those things. You can't pay money to train your people if you have no money. So some of those decisions need to be weighed. You can certainly play around with the TQM in this, but I kind of wanted to wait until we got into the competition rounds when I actually explained that to you a little bit better because there is a little bit of a trick to that as well. So my recommendation to you guys is, one, not everybody's going to get 40 points. Not anyone in all of my classes. There was lots of people that got 30 or 20 points out of it. You're a pretty safe bet to get 20 if you do the work on this, because all you have to do is create a product and get your cumulative profit up to $1 million, which it starts out as. So just don't lose your money, and you should hit 20 points. Not everybody does that, though, by the way. Some people struggle with even that. So you're going to find that getting your sales revenue above 65 million is going to be tough, and the contribution margin is going to be tough. So some people get one and not the other. But you're going to keep at it, and you're going to keep practicing this week. And then next week when we come to class, we'll be breaking into groups. I will be assigning the groups because I want to make sure that the knowledge base of the simulation and in past simulations of what I know of you is a little bit more balanced, and we don't have like one team that has all 4 or 5 of the people that know what they're doing in one team, and then somebody else is struggling because they don't have anyone to ask. You guys are going to learn a lot from each other while doing this. The other thing I'm going to say is there's a lot of tip videos out there. There's 2 different simulations, just so you know. There's a foundation fast track and a capstone. They have different rules and guidelines. So when you're looking at the tips videos that are out there, be a little bit careful about what they're saying and asking you to do, because it may or may not work for you. Because you're in foundation, and some of those are for capstone. But some of them do have some good ideas that are certainly worth trying. But like I said, against the computers, against other team members, things continually change. So one thing doesn't always work every time. And I think that's what you're going to learn. But as you're doing this, you're also going to learn when you make a decision, what happens when you make that decision. So feedback from this class once it was done, and time had passed, was that it was really valuable, and they felt like they had a much better handle on managing a business when this was done because of all the variables. Being a business owner is super stressful. It's super, super stressful. It's because of all these things that we're doing in class last night. So for those of you who stayed, I totally appreciate you. Brad, you're a saint for being an extra set of hands. ears and explanation, and your patience is amazing. So I appreciate that help last night. And for everybody who stayed and were vigilant, you probably have a little bit less work to do, maybe feel a little bit more confident in where you're at. And if you got it last night and you want to keep practicing, just go to the reports on the left-hand side, go into your Foundation Fast Track download, the last version that you have where you've done everything, and then keep practicing. You're not going to wreck anything if you do that. So, and if you need help with that, let me know. Also, I'm around. I'll be around later this afternoon. I'll be around tomorrow afternoon. I can be around on Friday if you need me to be. Monday I'm gone because of a conference, but I will be in Tuesday as well. So if you need help, make sure to ask. Make sure to reach out to me. I can create videos and kind of show you some explanations. And I know you guys don't like trial and error, but some of this is really trial and error. And you need to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. So this is what's going to challenge you for sure. But you will get through this, because my last class, I had some awesome success in my last class, and they're all very excited about where they finished. And it's been like that in others. So I think the harder that you get pushed, the better that you do. So once this practice round is done, you'll be in teams, and you'll learn so much from one another the next several weeks to get through that piece of it. So it will get easier and less, I think, brain taxing. Okay? So again, have a great week. I did tell the group at the end that I'm going to do my best to get us out of class early, but if you need the help and you want some assistance and you have questions, I will make myself available. I was there till 11 o'clock last night, and I will do that again and again if you need it. Okay? So get your coffee, maybe with some whipping cream on it like I did, and have a great day.